Cent Podcast.
Cool. And we're live. You Deserve a Drink is back. I'm joined with Rizzle, as always. And I think we have a really, really nice show in store for everyone. I think to get started, Rizzle, you let me know that this week you were able to scoop a bunch of art from other crypto artists that are on Cent, like Skeeny and Blackbox.art, as well as MLibTeam. So I'm super curious what you have to say about this new art that you've scooped and everything that you've done after that.
Yeah, man. You can add Blank and Matthias C to the list as well. I got sucked into the wormhole, man, over the past week or so. Let me ask you, when you are, I don't know, when you got the itch or whatever, you're looking to buy crypto art, do you go directly to a certain website? Do you have a certain person in mind, or do you like find stuff like mostly through Cent or maybe a mix of it all? But like, what's your general approach?
Yeah, I guess it's a combination of Super Rare, Cent, and Twitter for the most part. Super Rare, like going through their activity feed, it's always cool to see what new art creators have uploaded or what pieces are receiving bids. Cent is also like pretty cool. On any given day, when you see an artist post about what kind of art they're making lately, or maybe they posted on a new marketplace like Known Origin or something, where they got listed on Super Rare. It's a really good tool for me to see what kind of art people are starting to share and create. And especially for non-Super Rare art marketplaces like Known Origin or like Maker's Place or anything like that, sites that I don't regularly go to and sites that I'm less familiar with, it's much easier to follow the link that the artist gives to those sites. Just because it's like discovery on those sites for me is like not optimal. It's not as easy or reliable as Super Rare, just because everyone on Super Rare I feel has been vetted. And then last but not least, Twitter. There's a lot of artists that are being shared on there, and a lot of the crypto artists that I really, really respect that I follow, they tend to be super great retweeters of good art that other artists that I'm not following are sharing. So that's another huge discovery funnel. And then I just follow wherever they're selling their work. And if the price is right and if the art like strikes my fancy, I scoop it like that. So it's pretty simple.
Cool. It's interesting. My approach, at least over the past couple of weeks, has been like totally different. I've basically been finding artists that I'm interested in on Cent, and then like sort of going through that funnel into a multitude of these places that you've already mentioned. I bought my first piece off Super Rare from Blackbox.art, and I love it. And that was the first time I'd really like messed around with Super Rare from like a buyer's end. I'd like seen a bunch of other people's posts from Super Rare and found the site that way. But Super Rare really does a lot of things right. Well, let me talk about the other ones, man. I got to echo what you're saying. Known Origin and Maker's Place are like a nightmare to find people's things on. Their search engines don't work very well. And one of my biggest gripes about both of those websites is that as a buyer, there's no great place for me to showcase my stuff on those websites. You basically have to be an artist. Actually, I take that back. That might not be entirely true about Maker's Place, but Maker's Place doesn't support Trust Wallet. It keeps wanting me to link my MetaMask. And I have MetaMask, but it's on the laptop. The artwork that I happen to have through Maker's Place is on Trust Wallet, and so it just doesn't play nicely, and it takes some additional setup for me to, showcase anything. But as someone who now owns some crypto art, it would be cool if I could just throw a link like I can on Super Rare up there and be like, hey, check out my pieces on Super Rare /Rizzle, or whatever it ends up being. Oh, dude, the other one, Codex Record, is I don't even like understand Codex Record at all. I mean, I do, but I feel like that's an even like more complicated, convoluted version of Known Origin and everything. But so a lot of the artists on Cent have work spread out throughout all of these places, and I don't know, man. That's like the one thing I do like about OpenSea is that it sort of consolidates everything that's linked to that wallet address in one place, even though that's just as clunky as some of these other websites to navigate. So yeah, Super Rare seems to like have it all together and done it all right. I like the fact that they're very selective about, the artists that they take on and the pieces. So one thing I learned like the past couple of weeks is that, if you take in one of our artists on Cent, they have different art on all of these websites, right? So like if I'm looking at, I don't know if Skeeny's like a perfect example of this, but just for the sake of my example, like if I want to see Skeeny's artwork on Super Rare, maybe he's got 10 pieces up on Super Rare, but he's also got 15 pieces up on Maker's Place and like 4 pieces up on Known Origin. It was like a unintentional treasure hunt to try and find some of these pieces of artworks that I ended up buying. I got this cool piranha skeleton from Skeeny that you should check out. Dude, the other problem that I ran into, Mighty Moose, who I do not own a piece of Mighty Moose's artwork yet, but I have been stalking his stuff. So, eventually I'll get there. But the one thing that he does right that seriously I feel like everyone should take note of on Cent is that in his profile, he's got links to all of his stuff. Everybody else, maybe not everybody else, maybe a couple people have links somewhere, but most of these other artists have art all over the place. And I'm just basically punching in Skeeny or Matthias. And some of our artists whose artwork I love, I'm going to use Spontan Art as an example because she knows I love her and I own a couple of her pieces. But dude, Spontan Art, her shit is spelled differently on every single website. In one, it's like Spontaneert. In one, it's like Spontan Art. In one, it's like Spontanert. And so without like direct links on her profile, I can't find her shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, going on a scavenger hunt. Matthias is guilty of the same thing. Blackbox.art is Blackbox Art in some places. So, I guess this is like my public service announcement for people on Cent. I'm like, dude, I'm like trying to give you people my money, but I can't find your shit. And so I feel like adopting some sort of standard format like Mighty Moose has with just links to their art in different places could also like, help us collectors out a little bit in standardizing their profiles. But it's cool, man. I sort of have been going from the angle where I really wanted to just own. So I've seen a lot of these artists on Cent. Matthias is one of them. His process gifts are amazing. Like the amount of time he puts into these rubber stamp creations. I've interacted with him a bunch of times and I'm like, man, I really should own a piece of this guy's art. And finally, like one jumped out at me that I really like and I scooped it up. And then it's called like Error 002, something like that. It's most of his are grayscale. They're like black and white and stuff. And this one was pink and black mostly and gray. And Lazarus had actually posted about it and he had picked it up and I jumped right on board with that and then got to perusing a bunch of Matthias' stuff and found out that his stuff is spelled differently everywhere too. Blank is another one. I feel like I've seen his stuff a million times. I picked up one of his 8-bit creations. Blackbox.art was really cool. It's like a very abstract one. But it's interesting, man, to see that your approach is totally different. I noticed since we last talked, at least 2 other people, I want to say mlibt and xcopy and possibly 1 or 2 others that I'm forgetting, now have their own social money that they're fooling around with and everything. Did you see that? And curious to know like what you think about that phenomenon starting to take off a little bit more.
Oh yeah, mlibt with the bloody percentage, and then xcopy was the other one that I noticed with Doom coming out. The thing that I like about mlibt that at least initially differentiates him from Connie on the other hand is that it looks like mlibt is a little bit more selective in terms of how he's distributing his bloody percentages. But I think it's really interesting to have a larger group of people play around with this initial distribution, because there's going to be some artists that find approaches that are really novel and interesting that, like, for example, we could take and implement within our project, or other people can take and implement in their own way to help spin up more of a community. Because right now, if nothing else, it's a great way to incentivize the community to get more active with you and really engage with you upfront at a very low cost to yourself. So there's a lot of initial small learnings in the community sphere that I think these social currencies enable. And the more people that try new, exciting shit, the more value that everyone else in the space can take away because they're able to easily imitate and copy those learnings. So that's what has me most excited about that.
I'm glad I asked you what you think, because I feel like this is like your attitude of things being battle tested versus like my attitude, which is like viscerally it's getting filled with shit and not knocking Xcopy or MLibT or what any of these people are doing. It's just the pool is starting to get diluted, and I don't know. I guess it's just the cynic in me. I'm like, someone's going to come around or multiple people are going to come around and the value of all these coins, I feel like, and some of it does have to do with distribution and selective distribution and everything. But I'm like, all it takes is one artist to come in, just give away a shitload of their tokens that are worth extra editions of their copy, and I feel like that undercuts the whole thing. And I guess my fear is that what's going to happen is that artists are basically going to end up working for free or doing a whole lot of legwork for free, because even if MLibT is being really selective about who he gives his stuff to, if I'm just trying to get some skin in the game and acquire some crypto art, well, maybe like so-and-so is not, and they're just throwing stuff around and extra editions around and everything. This is the battle testing part of people tinkering around and figuring out what works, which I love all that stuff. But I don't know. I just thinking about what I was saying the other week, and I'm like, man, here's two more big ones jumping on board. If I'm an artist, do I need to figure out how to get involved and roll and come up with creative ideas to distribute this stuff, which you could argue is art in itself in some capacity. Figuring out these creative ways and sort of setting the stage for this new type of interaction. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I mean, sort of like what I mentioned, I really think this is like a very interesting exercise in community building. Of course, like the long-term implications are that this novel value will be created that early adopters plus the artists themselves stand to benefit from. But right now, it's just a really cool acknowledgement that the community is everything, and especially early community around these creators. And I think the linkages with that, number one, I'm not sure if you follow, I'm not sure if she's an analyst or what exactly her position at Andreessen Horowitz is, but there's this lady, her name is Legion. A couple weeks ago, she co-published this thought-provoking article called The Passion Economy. And then today on Twitter, she released a little tweet storm talking about this community as a service concept and how creators and their fans have this kind of symbiotic relationship, and how tools are getting created in the space, largely powered by crypto, where creators and the fans are able to benefit from one another's engagement in a way that, at least up until now, people have not been able to easily accomplish. Again, like in the future, I see the power of community being central to anything that happens. And especially on Cent, I just love this little community that we have. We don't necessarily need these creator coins or anything fancy within Cent to kind of tap into the value of this community. Joel coming back onto the platform after an extended absence, I think highlighted that really well by reaching out yesterday and saying that, hey, I have a target where if any of my fans really want to hear one of my another From Blockchain to Netflix episode, well, we got to raise $20 as a little community, and then I'll do an episode. And very quickly, he was able to get $20. And that's off the strength of this mini community that he was able to form around himself by putting in a year of really, really solid and consistent creative output. It just goes to show that this community that we're able to spin up around us as creators is super valuable. The community benefits because they're able to easily provide value to a creator so that they can in turn provide the value that the fans are looking for back, which is the creative output. Right? Again, like getting back to the cryptocurrency or social currency rather, it's just another exercise in allowing people or providing people a mechanism to spin up this valuable community so that you're able to pool on it and extract the value when you really need that value.
Yeah, your term "proof of fandom" was well received after one of our previous podcasts, and yeah, man, I feel like it does. The whole thing is very fascinating. The direction it's heading, I'm just like, where do I get Joel coins for listening to his thing, and are we going to have to start distributing like "you deserve a drink" tokens, and like, where does it end, and how much scrolling do I want to do through my wallet to find the obscure coins that are starting to come from everything?
I mean, those are all questions that each community needs to kind of ask itself. I just, again, like, it's another tool in the toolkit of people within a community and creators that have communities around them. I think sometimes it could make sense, right? But like, to your point, like, it adds a mental burden and just like an ease of use burden to people within the community if they have to keep track of all these different tokens. I think Joel highlights like a walk around. Like, if you've already spun up a sizable community, you don't need to do that to begin extracting value, because you've already found a method, or at least a way of doing things where both sides are able to benefit. If you're able to get consistent, decent investment in you, yourself, and your creative output and your creative output's future, well then, like, why do you need to add another, like, a token to that? I don't think you do need to do that right now, right? But perhaps if someone else proves out a different use case for it where it does make sense, I mean, the conversation changes.
Totally. No, I mean, that's the rub, right? It's like, is your shit good enough that you don't need a gimmick? Or on the flip side of things, your shit is really good and the right gimmick will get you the exposure that you're looking for. How about any posts on Cent stuck out to you this past week, or anything going on in the community?
Well, dude, there's a lot. I mean, I already referenced Joel, but I'm really excited to see what he does in the weeks ahead. His critique of seeding in particular was really, I mean, it's on point. And I think if he waits a couple weeks, he and everyone else will be really excited with what we're planning on rolling out in terms of updates. I was super stoked to see ClayCal303 pop in with a post showing the fruits of his 3D software learning. But then the overall trend of people talking about the milestones that they reached over the past couple of weeks, that's kind of like stuck out to me as a broader trend. And it's awesome to see other users start to rack up like hundreds of followers. Like, I know I Don't Use a Pic is around the 200 follower count. Mighty Moose passed 500 followers. Spontanert passed 300 followers and posted about it. Demon Tiger past 200 followers, and that's awesome. And then Syncos is coming up on 10 months on Cent and with some significant earnings. It's just really cool to see how people putting in the time and the effort and constantly upskilling themselves to make themselves better and to keep producing cool, thoughtful, valuable shit. It is just the best trend. How about you?
Yeah, there are a couple posts. New-ish user at Misfit had a "How Far We've Come" post talking about coinage. And then just like a few hours ago, right before we logged on, another new user, Arthur Mad82, made a post about like the literal value of money and how he actually like buys boxes of pennies and sifts through them to find ones that have been overlooked that have like additional value to people. And I don't know if you've seen Adam Sandler's like most recent stand-up thing, but he's got this like great song in it that's like goofy, but it's about how he can't go anywhere without his like phone, wallet, and keys and everything. And that's what both of these posts reminded me of, because I really feel like, with cryptocurrency and everything, our kids are going to be looking at us like dinosaurs by the time we're our age. And we tell them that we used to pay for things with like metal and paper. It just, puts into perspective how like antiquated that whole concept was. And bringing it back to the Adam Sandler thing. I've been waiting this whole time to just be on phone. I want like everything. My keys should be on my phone. Everything in my wallet should be on my phone, so that we're not dragging around coins and paper money and keys and like all this shit. We have the technology to put it all in one place and not be bogged down with junk in our pockets. Both of those posts were really cool. Basically, just where we're coming from and where we're going.
So, in order to squeeze in the last part of You Deserve a Drink, which is Centerpiece, where we highlight like our absolute favorite post of the last week, I'll just go real quick. It was from a new user, Alex the Rookie. And I just love seeing new users who come out strong, posting like something that's like stops me in my tracks. Not necessarily super profound, but Alex the Rookie's first post, first day on Cent, he posted a picture of Montenegro, which is like super cool, faraway place. It has like a lot of like luxurious associations in my mind, and the picture's just stunning. And I hope to see more posts about life in Montenegro or why he's there. It was really cool to see another new user hop on board posting cool shit. What was your centerpiece this week?
I just wanted to agree with you, man. The cultural posts from places that I'm not familiar with are definitely some of my favorite stuff on Cent. I was going to make my centerpiece the local community and its economy post by user AGFNZN10 about, again, the incubation period in Venezuela that's going on and the different things that has spawned. But for the centerpiece, I think I got to go with at Love Art Hate, his futurism post, not only because the post is really funny. You can tell that this dude really, really knows his stuff. And I'm like, this guy is just constantly fucking around with all of us, right? He's playing games with us. We're in his world, and he's just sort of goofing around with his posts. But some of his posts, and this one, I don't know why it stuck with me, really make me pause and think, like, can a post on social media be art in itself? Like, obviously he's using this as a way of expressing his art, but he's got a way with words. He's got a way with pictures. He finds inventive ways to post and use the platform. And I'm like, that to me, that it can be art in itself too, which I guess I'd never really seen too much before, or it never really struck a chord with me before I ran into Love Art Hate, just because I feel like he's constantly messing with all of us, and I like so that's my centerpiece.
I definitely like to think of Love Art Hate as like the very first performance artist on Cent. I feel like he has a couple of different characters. There's some Andy Kaufman-esque quality to how he interacts in some of his characters, which is really cool. It's all deadly serious sometimes, but you can tell it's just so much trollful intent, but not in a negative way. I love him, and I love that post. Cool. Well, we got to wrap this up before Zoom wraps up the call for us. So it was another awesome conversation, man. I love these talks. I hope that we can do them more frequently heading forward, because there's just so much to talk about in any given week.
Totally. I agree 100%, man. It's always a pleasure.
All right, man. Well, we'll talk again next week.
Cent Podcast. Cent Podcast. Cent Podcast. Cent Podcast.